Okay, guys, so here we go. Monday, let's get started today. Here's our objective for the day. Go ahead and write that down. You're going to need a piece of notebook paper today. Hope you guys had an awesome weekend, an awesome Halloween. Hope you didn't do anything crazy, all right? But here we go. So here's our objective for the day. Our objective is I can write an equation in slope-intercept form from a situation, okay? I can write an equation in slope-intercept form from a situation. Let's add that in there. Form from a situation. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we've worked a lot last week with graphing and equations, right? With slope-intercept form. Today we're going to look at situations. And then tomorrow we're going to work on putting those situations onto a graph, okay? So with that being said, here we go. Let's just kind of review where we were last week. What is slope-intercept form, right? So what is it? Well, by now, come on, guys, you have to know this. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Okay? So, what does that mean? There are different parts to it, right? So, my m, we talked about this. This is my slope. How much does my situation change? My change in y over the change in x. Okay? What is the b? The b is my y-intercept. Write this with me. And today it's going to be kind of like, where do we start a lot of these? Okay? Y-intercept. The x and the y are two different just coordinates. Okay, but in math we call this the input. And in y we call that the output. You've probably done some functions once upon a time in one of your other math classes. And you would just take the input, right? You plug something in for x and you get the y, you get the output. That's kind of the same idea here. But when we do the equation, all right, most of the time, just to start off with, those y's and x's are just there. And then we're going to plug something in and figure out the other one. Okay? All right, so here's my first story. For babysitting, Nicole charges a flat fee of $5 plus $10 per hour. Write an equation for the cost, okay, we're going to call that C, after H hours of babysitting. All right? After H hours of babysitting. So how would I write that equation? Well, my total cost, all right, equals what? How much does she charge per hour? She charges $10 per hour, and they said to call that H, plus what? Plus my flat fee of $5. See the comparisons here, guys? See how this looks like slope-intercept form? Right? It looks like y equals, there's my slope, x plus 5. It's the same idea, okay? The 10 would be my slope. Whoa, that answers my next question for me. What is my slope? My slope here, fill this out with me, come on. Fill this out, is that she makes $10 per hour. Or we could call that her rate, right? That's her rate. Now our y-intercept is 5, which is her what? Flat fee. Okay. Now in each one of these, all right, we're going to have a question that we have to answer about it. Okay? So here's the question. If she works for 5 hours, how much will she make? So now I'm going to take my equation and plug it in. Okay? So now I have to figure out, hey, where does this go? So my equation's up here, right? So I know I got cost equals $10 per hour plus 5. Where am I going to plug this 5 hours into my equation? Well, this looks per hour, right? That's her fee. So here we go. Here's what I'm going to do. The cost would be $10 per her fee, which 5 hours of work plus the 5. So how much would it cost if she was to babysit some kids for 5 hours? Plug that in my calculator. 10 times 5 is 50. Plus 5, it costs you $55. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Okay, let's keep rock and rolling. Here we go. Next one. A plumber charges $25 for a service call, plus $50 per hour of service. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the cost C after hours of service. Okay? Take a second. Write your equation for me. Write your equation. Remember, I want it to look like this. But I may use different letters because they've asked me to. but it's the same equation, same setup, okay? So here we go. C is going to be our cost, right? Just like the last one, really. Now, how much does it cost per hour? Anytime we're talking about per something, that usually means the slope. So it costs $50 per hour plus the $25 service fee. Okay, there's our equation. Now, what does our slope mean in this problem? Our slope means that it costs $50 per 1 hour of work. And what's our y-intercept? Our y-intercept is our $25, and that's just the cost for the service call. Okay, let's answer our question now. You should be writing this with me, guys. If you're not writing it with me or typing it or doing some sort of notes, that's going to be a trouble. That's the reason why we're not doing so hot on some of this stuff. If the plumber works for 4 hours, how much would it cost the customer? Okay, so once again, I got 4 hours here. We're going to use our equation up here. So our equation is C equals 50 times H plus 25. Okay, let's plug in our 4 and figure out where it goes. So we're talking hours, so we're going to plug it in for our H. So our total cost is 50 times 4 hours plus 25. Now let's work that out together, right? 50 times 4, 200 plus 25, so our total cost would be $225. Okay? So far, so good. Let's keep going. Okay, I want you to try this entire one on your own. I'm just going to be quiet. Okay, like I said, I want to work on that one on my own or together afterwards because I want to check and see, but I want you to try it on your own, guys. Okay. Question 4, we're going to mix it up a little bit. Okay? All right, Rufus collected 100 pounds of aluminum cans to recycle. He plans to collect an additional 25 pounds per week. Write an equation for total pounds, P, of aluminum cans after W weeks. Okay? So once again, same kind of setup. Except this time I'm going to use, instead of Y, we're going to use the total pounds. So I got pounds equals, how much is he trying to collect per week? See that word? Per. That always means slope for the most part. Per week. So he's going to try to get 25 pounds per week. Now they told us we want to put W for week, so let's put W. And how many does he start with? He's already collected 100 pounds. Okay? So now let's fill it up. So our slope is 25 pounds per week. Okay? And what's our y-intercept? Our y-intercept is 100. And that is simply just what? How much he started with. How much he started with. Okay? Now, just like all the other ones, we've got a question that we've got to answer now. How many weeks will it take Rufus to collect 400 pounds of cans? Now, look back at my equation, but think about where this is going to be plugged in at. We're looking for weeks, so I don't know what the W is going to be. So my equation, I'm not going to put in for W this time. I want to know how long it's going to take him to collect 400 pounds. So watch, 400 pounds equals, there we go. Now, we have to go back to when we solved equations, guys. All right, it's been a little bit since we've solved equations, but here we go. We got to work it out. Okay, the first thing that I want to do is I want to move this 100. Write this with me. Minus 100. This is gone, right? So that leaves me with 400 minus 100 is 300. Okay, and then my last step this time is we're going to divide by 25. So after how many weeks would it take? Plug that in your calculator real quick or count it up with me. 300 divided by 25. It's going to take him 12 weeks to get 400 pounds of cans. That's a lot of pounds of cans. Okay? All right, two more. Here we go. Let's do that one on your own. Okay, suppose that the water level of a river is 34 feet and that it's receding at a rate of 0.5 foot per day. Write an equation for the water level after for L, water level is L, after D days, okay? So what does this equation look like? This is a different one than we've done so far. But remember, I still want it to be the same thing. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, let's go to work on it. So what does it look like? They said to use L for our water level. That's our Y. Now it's receding. If you don't know what receding means, that means that it's dropping. All right, so it's dropping. How can I talk about something dropping? Well, we're going to put a negative sign for our slope this time. Okay? Negative 0.5. That's what it's dropping per day. So there is my D that we're going to put for days. And what did it start at? It started at 34 feet. Okay? So let's fill out our slope and y-intercept here. Our slope is that it's dropping. It's at negative 0.5. Okay? Drop per day. And our y-intercept is 34. We can put that as our starting level. Okay, now here's my question. After how many days and how many days will the water level be 26 feet? Okay, so I'm looking for days. So here's my equation, right? L equals okay, so I'm looking for the level. So I want the level to be 26. So I'm looking for days. All right, just like the last one that we did. Here we go. Let's subtract 34. Okay, 26 minus 34 leaves me with what? It leaves me with negative 8. Now, it seems kind of weird, but it'll fix itself here in just a second. Because we don't usually think about a water level being negative 8 necessarily. But here we go. What do I do last? I got to divide. Divide by negative 0.5 to solve for my number of days. Okay? So when I do that, I have a negative divided by a negative, which equals a positive. So my days is going to equal after, how many days? 0.5 times 8? 16 days. So at 16 days, my water level will be 26 feet. Okay? All right, here we go. I want you to do one more on your own. Here you go. Try this one out. A gym membership costs $25 per month and charges $5 per training session. Write an equation representing this situation, okay? So it costs $25. We're just going to put a month. All right? And charges $5 per training session. Write an equation that represents the situation. Okay, on your paper, on your notes, I want you to solve this entire equation, and we will talk about it at the end. Okay? Pause the video, get it down, do what you need to, and then we'll talk about it. All right? All right, we'll talk to you guys soon.